Hello there everyone, Magicians ASMR here, bringing you the Q&A answers portion of our 100/200 subscriber celebration. So I asked you guys to submit me questions, I think 2 weeks ago. I'm pretty sure it was 2 weeks ago. Last week you got the City Werewolf, and I'm pretty sure the questions portion of the Q&A went up before that one. So yeah, I think it's been 2 weeks. So I plan to answer as many different questions as I can. Well, I say that, but I know I'm gonna do it. There's only 7 questions, or rather 7 entries. I don't want to say 7 questions because some people did ask more than one question, but there are 7 entries to go through. So it's not gonna be that long, but it's also not going to be like super short either. So the way I'm going to break it down is I am going to answer going from like whoever commented first and then followed by whoever went after up until the most recent comment on that video. I'm also going to be breaking them down in terms of questions that are similar enough to where I can answer them together. So, for example, let's say I got asked the same question by 2 separate people. Instead of answering it first and then moving on to the second person who commented, eventually getting to that duplicate question and answering it again, I'm just going to lump them together and answer them together and continue to go along like that. So before we begin, I am going to say this now. At the end of this video, I am going to reveal what next week's ASMR roleplay topic is going to be. So if you're interested to find out what that is, stay until the end of the video. Or if you want to be surprised, by all means, once we're done with the questions, you could just log off and wait till next week and yeah, be surprised. Well, not really surprised, but yeah, you get the idea. Also, the quality is obviously not going to be as good as other videos are. I did mention in the werewolf video that the microphone that I use from the headphones that I have does not work anymore. The headphones work fine, just the microphone doesn't. So I'm using an older pair of headphones, so the quality is not as good. I do have a 2-year warranty on them. So I could just go and get a new pair for free and then obviously pay for a new warranty. But I usually only do that if the headphones themselves stop working. Like let's say like one ear just doesn't work anymore, because then it just gets annoying. So I don't want to go and do that now because they still work. So until one of them just stops working altogether, which who knows how long that could be, I'm just going to stick with this. So I hope you guys understand. Alright, now with all of that out of the way, we can finally begin answering some of your questions for the celebration. So I'm going to be reading the names as well. Well, it doesn't really matter because the questions are going to appear on the screen as well. So the first question that was asked was submitted by CatsAreCute101Yay, and they say, what/who got you into ASMR? So then the next question is asked by Sky Wilkinson. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. And they write, first, you're amazing. You deserve all the subscribers in the world. Love you so much. Thank you very much. That means the world to me. You guys have no idea how much your support means to me. And it's just incredible. So the question they ask is, what inspired you to do the vids? So there is a second question, but I want to get to that later because like I said, I want to lump very similar questions first. So that way I don't gotta like just answer them again later on. So we're gonna just lump as many as we can that sound similar that I can answer in just one swoop, and then we're just gonna move on to the next question that's different. Finally, we have Misunderstood Mao, and they ask, what inspired/motivated you to start this channel? They also have a second question, but like I said, I'm just gonna lump the similar ones first before moving on. So we're just gonna do these 3, answer it, and then move on to the next batch of questions. So oddly enough, the way you guys phrase these questions are pretty accurate. You guys asked me what inspired me, and then you asked me who inspired me, which is very accurate to how I got into ASMR. So one day I was scrolling through Twitch trying to find something to watch, and on the front page was an ASMR stream. And at the time, as far as I was concerned, I thought Twitch was entirely a gaming platform, but then I realized at that moment that no, Twitch has other stuff too. I looked at their their categories, and they have like talk shows, like board games, podcasts, and of course ASMR is now a category. So that was a very interesting experience for me. So like I said, it was on the front page, so I got curious and I decided to join the stream. Now, I don't remember the name of the channel or the specific stream that it was for, but I do know that it was a stream dedicated to like tingles and triggers. Like I said, I don't know if it was for like sleeping, relaxation, comfort, or anything, because I don't even think I looked at the title or the name of the channel. It was more so I got curious one day and decided to jump on that. So I ended up watching it for maybe like a minute or two before going, yeah, this is just weird for me. And then I ended up closing the stream and doing something else. I don't even remember what I did, but it wasn't something that I was particularly into at the time. Then probably some time passed, and then it was like the idea of ASMR was stuck in my head. So I got curious one day and I typed in ASMR on YouTube just to see if YouTube also had, which I knew it did. Like, come on, if Twitch has it, then YouTube obviously has to have it. So I decided to type it in, and the first thing the first thing that popped up was ASMR GB. So I'm pretty sure most of you already know who she is. She's one of the bigger ASMR artists out there. And literally that's one of the first things, if not the first thing, that popped up when I typed it in on YouTube. I don't remember watching many of her videos. I think I've only seen like one. I don't even remember which one it was because I know she has multiple versions of it. But it was for sleep, and I don't even remember like specifically what happened in the video, but I do know it was for sleep. Although another video I did watch when I typed in ASMR was one by Ephemeral Rift, which is also a sleep one, and I do remember this one because I've watched it a couple times, and the thumbnails of him holding like a fruit. I don't even remember what the fruit is, but because I usually fall asleep by that point. But I do remember what the thumbnail looks like. I really recommend watching it. For whatever reason, that video is like just struck to me. Like, you know, it just does something. So then that pretty much became the primary video that I saw. And I didn't even see it like that consistently either. It was more so that I just like saw it every now and then. But that was like probably the only one that I watched at the time. However, I'm pretty sure you can all agree, once you watch one or two types of a specific video on YouTube, the algorithm just assumes you're a big fan and it starts recommending you a whole bunch of stuff. So then a bunch of ASMR videos started appearing on my recommendations feed. So I'm like, oh man, I kind of just ruined my recommendations feed a little bit, because now I'm just gonna get a whole plethora of this stuff appearing for me. And no matter how many videos I watch of what I usually watch, it's gonna take a lot to clear it all away. And I didn't mind it too much because most of them were like very similar to what I had watched, like trigger videos and tingles and stuff like that for like relaxation, sleeping, nothing of what I do, no roleplay videos. There was one roleplay video that I kept seeing in my recommendations. It was the only one out of all the like triggers and tingle videos. It was the only roleplay video that I saw, and I do know the name, not like word for word, but I do know the topic, and I also do know who it was by because I still watch her content. So the first ever ASMR roleplay, and it's funny looking at it now, you know, like imagine being a person who is so casual to ASMR and jumping in to this specific type of video that I'm going to say in a minute and not being scared away by the whole thing. It was a succubus ASMR roleplay, and it was by Fallen Shadow. And it's like I said, it's so hard to think about it. Somebody who is super casual watching a succubus roleplay video and not being scared of the idea of roleplaying or ASMR roleplaying, to where here I am making my own videos. So I watched it and it was very weird. Weird in the sense that I didn't know what I was expecting, but the video lived up to all of the expectations I had for it, if that makes any sense. The video itself isn't particularly like extreme, but it's also not like super tame either. But at the end of the day, I enjoyed the video and her content enough to subscribe and watch however many more videos that I decided to watch from her channel. And of course, YouTube then decided to start recommending me other types of ASMR roleplay videos. When I first got into it, ASMR roleplays that is, I had a very small little niche of people that I watched. I think maybe like 5 to 7 people that I watched, and I'm like, okay, I'm content with just these 5 to 7 people. I don't need to watch any more. That's how I was back when I got into it. Of course, now it's like super expanded, Jesus Christ. But then it was very small. I didn't think I needed to watch that many. But of course, over time, my curiosity started getting the better of me, and I started experimenting with other types of content creators and different types of videos. So some of the people that I found during that time, like when I first got into it, obviously I brought up Fallen Shadow. She was the first one that I watched. I don't remember the order of which I watched these others, but they were all like super like in the same pretty much time zone or time area that I discovered them. And Fearless Lynn, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know her. If you don't, check her out, good stuff. Check all of them out, by the way, as I name them, because I don't want to have to say, oh, check this person out for every person. I'd rather just say, check them all out. Also, Sweet as Honey is one of them. Dangerous ASMR. And ASMR Mommy was the name of her channel back then, but I believe her channel is called Mother Child now, so you probably won't be. Actually, that's not true. You might still be able to find it, because I think she has her old name in one of her videos. I could be wrong, but Mother Child is the name of her channel now. There might be like 1 or 2 more that just don't come to my head right now, but those I think I just named 4. Those 4 are like the main ones that I found myself watching at that time. So of course, over time I started watching other people as I started to experiment with different other content creators, but relative to that time I pretty much just stuck with them. Now it's pretty much just I just watch whatever it is I find interesting. So that's what got me into ASMR. Now to get on to what got me into making this channel, I'm doing both. Now to get to what made me make this channel and what made me make videos on this channel. So I don't know when or how I found out, but I figured out that Fearless Lynn was a voice actress. So it clicked on me. I'm like, wait, what? she's, wait, hold, what? Voice acting as well? And then it struck me, oh my god, some of this stuff could be considered voiceover work. And that's when the gears in my head started slowly turning. For those of you who did not watch my initial channel introduction video, which honestly I don't blame you, it's very short, but I did bring up briefly that I wanted to be a voice actor, and I want to go more in depth on it here. So I've wanted to be a voice actor maybe since 2015, back when I was a senior in high school, but I never really made any effort to pursue it. Effort in the sense that even now I've never taken any acting lessons, and I've never been in any plays or productions and none of that. So I'm pretty much jumping into this thing blindly. So then I decided to tell myself, hey, you keep saying you want to do this, but you never make the effort to do it. So, you know, you're 21 years old. What are you waiting for? It's like, you're young now. Although many people do get into voiceovers like in their like 30s, 40s, 50s, there's really no bad time to get into it, because there's a plethora of roles out there that anybody can fulfill. But I told myself, if I want to have a head start, I should, well, not really a head start because I am coming into this late, but if I want to like get into it now, it has to be either now or I'm never going to do it. So then I buckled down and told myself, you know what? Alright, I'm going to do it. I've been really enjoying ASMR for the past few months. At the time, it was few months that I was watching, and I want to get into voiceover work, so I pieced it together. Then I came up with the idea to make this channel to be a sort of best of both worlds, since I want to do voiceover work and I really enjoy ASMR. I have for a few months at the point of when I was watching. So that's what initially got me to make this channel. Now onto what got me to make specific videos. I think it's more so of what I found interesting at the time. I mostly watched roleplay videos at the time. Most of them, I think it's very common to see a bunch of like werewolf and vampire and yandere stuff. Pretty common things to see. Every now and then I'd find something like interesting, like a prince video, a medieval, a dragon, a snake, or I forget the word for it. I know it begins with an L. I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna just call it out in the comments, and if you do, I appreciate it. I'm drawing a blank, but other like mythical creatures and stuff like that, pretty common, or at least pretty common from what I've seen. A lot of like girlfriend, boyfriend comfort videos, like friends to lovers that I've seen. It was more so what I was already experienced to in terms of being somebody watching these videos. So the first roleplay video that I uploaded was the dragon video, but the first one that I ever made was a very generic werewolf video that I never got uploaded. So that's what pretty much got me into the channel and to make the videos. Right, so that werewolf video never got uploaded because, in my opinion, I thought it was like too generic, even though I could have taken it in a completely other direction with the part 2. I just did not like the way part 1 came out. The way it would have gone, it would have been like, hey, I'm a werewolf, you're a human, why are you in the woods, it's dangerous, yada yada yada, alright, I'm gonna walk you home, you take the listener home, oh, don't come back, it's dangerous, and of course in part 2, the human comes back anyway. So I thought it was very generic and not original, so that's why I never uploaded it and decided to move on to the dragon video instead. Which leads us to Sky Wilkinson's second part of the question they asked, which is, when did you come up with the idea of the first audio that you did, which is technically the dragon video? So the idea didn't so much come to me from like a specific source. It was more so that I just thought to myself, hey, I rarely, if ever, see like an abundance of dragon videos. Like there is a bunch out there, but not like as common as like a werewolf or a vampire. So of course, me being the type of guy that I was, I'm like, you know what, let me start off with a bang and make this dragon video my first one. So I didn't know where the story was gonna go, what the story was gonna be. All I knew was it was gonna involve a dragon and a listener. Then I thought, why not have a spin on like a generic yandere stuff, but instead of capturing somebody because you like them, you capture somebody because they're literally there, or their job is to literally be the one to kill you. So I purposely put the listener in a very interesting spot where it's like you have to kill this person, you know, the dragon, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to do that when you're locked up. And I was happy with the way it turned out, but I was also very skeptical of how how it was gonna not react, but how it was gonna be received when I uploaded it. I had made this channel in, I think, December, like late December, I think, maybe even early December. But I know I made the channel roughly around the time where I made that first video, and then I'm like, oh man, this is a new channel. Like, am I even gonna get people to watch? I really wanted people to watch just so I can get feedback, because like I said, I made the channel specifically to help me work on voiceover work, so I wanted to get as much feedback as I could to see where I needed to improve. And thankfully, I not only did I get feedback, but man, that first dragon video blew up. I think it's still the most viewed video on my channel. I honestly did not expect to get that many people to watch it, let alone people to subscribe. And it literally boggles my mind that we're literally like already a few months in the year, and it literally feels like I made this channel yesterday. And just to see how much it's grown since then, it's just crazy. So the video did well, and I was really happy with the way I decided to go with the story, because it was very different. It's something that I haven't seen before as a listener, like listening to other people. So I decided to make it like I said, I decided to give it that little twist, to make it slightly different, but try to keep it as interesting as I possibly could. So I intentionally did not name the dragon. I'm like, usually, like when it comes to these videos, you always name your character, or if you could always leave them nameless and leave it to the audience to come up with the name for them. But I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give this dragon a name, but I'm not gonna give it to the listeners. I want them to sort of think, what could this dragon's name be? And then, of course, with the second part, I still didn't drop the name. Part 3 will come out. Maybe I won't name drop him there. Maybe I'll name drop him in like the 4th or 5th or 6th, or however many parts come out. Who knows when I'll drop that name. So to recap, it was pretty much my insecurity of my first roleplay with a werewolf that eventually spawned the dragon video. And looking at it now, you know, hindsight is always 20/20. I'm glad that I was insecure, because I was later able to rework the wolf video into the city wolf, which is last week's video, and I thought that came out really good. So things really turned out for the best for me in that scenario. So with those questions out of the way, we can finally move on to the next unique question. I say unique in the sense that nobody's asked this one yet. Like, I'm looking at the comments now, and this is the only comment of its type. So this is I think this is the first, or it might be the first like solo question that we're getting to, and I'm super excited to answer it because it's a very interesting one. Katakana1 asks, what's your favorite kind / type of ASMR to listen to / make? For example, whispering, nature sounds, sleep aid, fantasy, supernatural, emotional support, friend/listener, love interest/listener. If I'm being honest, I don't think I have a specific type that I like to listen to more than another, because they're so varied. Like one day I'd be into like a fantasy, a role play. Maybe the next day I'm like, you know what, I'm really feeling a like comfort video or something. And then maybe like another day I'm just like, you know what, I just really want to listen to some nature sounds. So it's honestly however I'm feeling in terms of what I'm listening to. However, I mean, it's a pretty boring answer, but although I do find like it's not my favorite kind, because like I said, it's usually how I'm feeling. I usually find myself listening more to fantasy than any other. But like I said, it's so varied. I listen to a bunch of different things, but I am willing to admit that the most common one that I've noticed that I listen to is probably fantasy. Now, when it comes to making videos, that's an entirely different story. See, I have a whole list on my notepad of topics that I want to do, and different types of role plays and scenarios, or maybe even characters that I want to do at some point. So it's more so like I'm going off like a bucket list, so to speak. I really like making videos that feel different than other ones that I've made or will make. For example, it's not the first one I've done. It was a couple videos in, which is the Prince video. I think compared to the rest of my videos, the Prince series is by far the most vanilla that I've done. Vanilla in the sense that it's not like too like out there. It's just me doing my voice, just chatting more or less with the listener. So around that time, we had the dragon video, which is the first one that I uploaded, which is completely different than anything I've ever done that came after it. It's like if you compare like Prince, which I'm talking here, at like this type of like voice, maybe a little bit more softer, more nicer. I usually try to like sound that way for like Theodore, versus, you know, the dragon, where I'm talking like this or something very similar to that. And it's really not that hard to do this voice. I just gotta bring it down super low. That actually might not even be the voice. It's been a minute since I've heard it. Hopefully that's how the voice sounded. I usually, like for part 2, I had to look back and I had to rewatch part 1 just to see what the voice sounded like. Because when I recorded part 1, I did not have a voice. So I experimented with like 3 different voices before I just settled on that like low one. But you guys get the idea. You know, the dragon is like super low. Theodore is like super like nice and like high. The introvert series is very similar in terms of how my voice sounds, but it's how I use it. It's sort of like a mix of the two, where my voice is like this, but the character is like very like mean and aggressive. And the character is not a tsundere, by the way, in case you were wondering. The character in the introvert series, as far as part 1 and part 2 are concerned, at this point in time, the character legitimately does not like the listener. It's not like tsundere type thing. The character just genuinely does not like the listener. And whether or not that'll change, who knows. But as of right now, that's pretty much where that character stands. Then I had the Pokemon Go video that I did, very different than Introvert, Dragon, and Theodore, Prince. I don't know why I call that Theodore, the Prince videos, because I'm now talking to the listener like me. Like, I know technically Introvert isn't that far off, because I am sort of introverted, although I don't act nearly as aggressive as the character in that series does. But it was at the time, that was the closest thing to me that I've ever gotten until I made the Pokemon Go video. Like that's all me. I'm not a character for that roleplay. That's all me. So it was different because I'm no longer playing a character. I'm now playing myself. It's so hard. Like if somebody tells you to act natural, you act so unnatural because you don't know what you naturally do, because you just do it. And then of course I made the spirit video and the pirate video and subsequent other videos. But the main point I'm trying to make is I always try to be different in terms of recording, and I always try to like have a different atmosphere going into making these videos, and I think that's what I enjoy the most about making them. Although I really don't like editing videos, that's really annoying because nobody wants to edit a video. But oh well, I like the way they come out now, as opposed to that first werewolf video that never got uploaded. I always like record these and tell myself I really like the way this came out. Like, even because obviously some series that I do are more popular than others. As long as I'm content with what I do, that's enough to just keep me going throughout the day until I upload it and you guys tell me how much you enjoy it. Then that really keeps me going for the rest of the day. I know that they really didn't answer the question, because I believe the question asks what specific type of video I like making, and I pretty much just said I like making every video different. But if I'm going by like genre, I guess I would say I love making fantasy stuff, because you know, we got a dragon, we got a prince, we got a pirate, we got a spirit, so we got a werewolf now. So I would say definitely a fantasy. Now with that done, let's move on to the second unique-ish question that we've gotten, and that's asked by Lauren Mayer or Meyer. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Like I said, you know, it's not simply a matter of, you know, just going to Google, putting the name, and it'll tell me, unfortunately. So hopefully I'm pronouncing all of these names right. But they ask, what made you come up with the Prince videos? Followed by Shadow Cat Fox, and they say, congratulations. Question, why are you so cool? I don't know why, but I don't think I'm cool, but the fact that you think I'm cool, I'm really appreciative of that. And because you think I'm cool, I now think that you're cool, so I'm asking you now, why are you so cool? But their second question is, where do you come up with these ideas, or where do you come up with ideas for your videos? So it's like I said, I don't really have like inspiration specifically for certain videos. It's more so I just look at my list and decide what I'm feeling the most comfortable, or not really comfortable with, the one that I feel the most attached to at the time. Because I think I had the intro video go up, and then I'm like, where do I go? I'm like, what video do I do? Like, once that dragon video went up, I was like in the biggest slump. And it's funny because I was uploading like pretty consistent. I don't think I've ever missed a week except for the 1 week where I was on vacation. But I don't think I missed a week. And it's funny that it was like such a short slump, but I'm like, after that dragon video, I'm like, what do I do? So obviously I had Introvert that I literally came with out of the blue. That was not on my list. Like, I don't know what came up. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if you had lunch with someone? That'd be dope. And that's literally, that's as far as that Introvert went. But as far as the Prince video is concerned, you know, I don't know. I wanted to do something different than the two. And I know I brought it up earlier, where I said, oh, you know, it's like you have Prince and Dragon and Introvert, sort of the mix of the two. that's all accidental. I didn't even realize that until like a while after. So I think it came down to me just being into like medieval stuff around that time, because I was watching a lot of like royalty and like medieval ASMR videos. So I think that's where, not like nothing like specific, but I think that's where I got the influence to make the Prince videos, and I'm glad I did because I had a lot of fun. I think that marked the first time where I ever voiced two characters in anything really. I played Theodore and I played Walter at the end of that video where Theodore leaves and he's like, "Oh, Walter, like look after her or something, you know, because she's like in the or the listeners in the room, and like if they need anything, I want you to be there." And Walter's like, "Okay, yeah, I'll be there. Whatever, Theodore, just leave." And I was like super worried too, because for whatever reason, when I automatically wrote Walter, for the first thing that came to my mind, I'm like, who's gonna voice Walter? Like, and then I thought, I literally, I was so like panicked. I'm like, who? I have to get someone. But then I remembered, I was like, no, if you're gonna be a voice actor, you have to voice multiple characters, sometimes even on the same show. So I was like, you know what? Let me voice Walter. Let me give him any random old guy voice that I could do consistently, because there was another one that I had, but I just could not do it consistently. So I'm like, let me just make this voice and go with that. Then, of course, like I said, once I was done with that, I look at my list and I ask myself, do I want to make this video? I always look at the pros and the cons of what it would be like to write a script, storyboard, and record. And then I take some time to sort of come up with something. And there are some influences that come to my videos. The Spirit video came to me from a viewer who emailed me saying, hey, I have an idea to make a sort of similar video. Well, I say similar because technically he sent me was the initial version. So it was initially going to be the listener talking to the Pokemon Arceus, which is considered to be the god of all Pokemon. And I actually thought that was very interesting because I am a very big fan of Pokemon, and I did the Pokemon Go video. So I'm like, huh, okay, that sounds like interesting. And then I told them, I'm like, okay, I'll consider that. Like I said, you guys are, feel free to send me ideas. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like do them, but anything that can inspire me, I'm super appreciative of. My email is magiciansasmr@gmail.com. I don't do requests though, so if you say, hey, can you make this specific video, maybe I will at some point, but it's not like I'm taking requests either. But he gave me suggestions and I really liked it, and I tried so hard to make it work. I think I spent a couple weeks on it and I just could not make it work. It just, I thought it was cool, right? But then as I went along, I'm like, the idea of like talking to like a Pokemon, even if it is like the Pokemon equivalent of a god, it just sort of like kept taking me out of that element of having like a spiritual encounter and more so being brought into the Pokemon world. So I decided, you know what, let me just remove Arceus and have it be a generic spirit. That way it feels more like mystical and like illusion-y and sort of like trippy, as in like, did this happen? Was it a dream? Did I die? The guy who suggested it to me also said it would be cool if it was like left to the audience interpretation, which I did incorporate into the video. I thanked him for that. He even told me, he's like, hey, I saw it, I really like the way what you did. That's sort of how I come up with ideas for videos, because I didn't have a spirit video prior to that. So it's always nice to get inspiration from like outside stuff, especially from you guys, because you guys are the ones who are watching it, So I always say, hey, if there's something that you guys think would be cool to see, let me know, and maybe I could do something with it because you guys are my audience. So I want to know what you guys like to see, so maybe I could provide you with that content. Now, thank you guys, because you guys are the reasons why I keep making these videos, because you guys watch them, and I have an audience now, as opposed to like with that dragon video that I did. It was like, oh, it was like jumping in fresh, and I was literally starting new, and I don't know if anybody was gonna watch it, so I literally just did what I could do, and I just put it out there. So that's as far as inspiration is concerned when it comes to me making videos. Now we have another solo question. It's a very short one. It's not gonna compare it to like the other questions that we've gotten into, and it's by Animal Lover 239, and they ask, "What's your name?" It's very short and simple, but it gets right down to the point. So to answer your question, my name is Kevin. I've said it in the first introduction video I made, but like I said, I don't blame anybody for not watching it. What my name was, and you guys can call me whatever you want, really. If you guys want to call me by my name, by my real name, or Magicians ASMR, I'm pretty much content with whatever. It's honestly whatever you guys feel more comfortable with talking to me, but I'm pretty much cool with either one. And yes, now that you guys know what my name is, in case you didn't, I did indeed name the character in the Introvert series after my name, because the character is very loosely based off of me, but like I said, I am slightly introverted, but I'm nowhere near as aggressive about it as the character in that series. And now, back to the last question that I have, and it's again by Misunderstood Mal, and they ask, is this your first YouTube channel? And the answer to that is no, it is not. Well, I have two channels at the moment. One of them doesn't have videos, I think another one does. I initially made the one that I have, my main one, just to watch videos. The second channel was a podcast channel that I did. I would upload pretty consistently. I think I did like close to a year of uploading podcasts, and it was just me, by the way. It wasn't like, sometimes I would get a guest to come on, but it was usually just me. And like I said, friends and family would watch it, and then I just ended up just stopping entirely, because I'm like, I did this to sort of build a community, to sort of discuss whatever topic I was talking about at the time, but doing it for however many months and nothing, I just decided, you know what, I think it's safe to say that I can pull the plug on it without any really big regrets, and which I did. The main channel I have, that's what I usually do to watch stuff, and like this channel, I don't watch anything on this channel. I only ever really log on to this account if I want to upload something, or if somebody comments on a video and I want to like it, or I want to comment or reply to you guys. That's really the only time I ever use it, because it's gonna take forever for me to resubscribe to all the people I'm subscribed to on my main channel to this channel. That's the only reason why I haven't made this one the main one. But aside from that, yeah, I pretty much answered all of these questions, and that was, like I said, that was the last question. There's no more. There was a total of 7 entries. Some of them had multiple questions, and which we got to. And I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but it's a pretty good amount of length, I would say. Now that we're at the end, I wanted to give a big thank you to every single one of my 200 plus subscribers for just being here. Like, I know I said this in the previous video, but I just can't help but say it. Like, I don't know what else to say, because you guys are incredible. You guys don't have to be here, but you are, and we're only gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. We're gonna make an amazing community, because we already have some amazing people who are just liking and commenting and being super active, and I really appreciate every single I can't even talk right now. I really appreciate you guys, and I had a lot of fun doing this Q&A, and I think whenever we hit another big milestone is when I'll do another Q&A. Of course, like I said, it's an old holds barred, so you guys can pretty much ask whatever you want. And I'm pretty sure if I ever make another one, I'll probably just say, hey, I've already answered these. And if my answers ever change, I'll say, hey, you can ask them again because they're different answers. But thank you guys so much for an incredible January, February, and of course we're nearing the end of March. And here's hoping we kick off April really strong, even though we're super far away from April. I think we're like a week or two from it, but you gotta always look ahead, you know? Before I wrap things up, I did promise you guys that I was gonna reveal next week's video, which I'm gonna do now. I will be doing Rescued by a Dragon Part 3 next week. I don't know if I'm gonna do Introvert Part 3 or Prince Part 3 like after that, because I did that the first time and the second time where I did Dragon Part 2, Introvert Part 2 after, and then Prince Part 2 after. I don't know if I'm gonna do it again, but next week, guaranteed, Dragon Part 3. You're not gonna want to miss it. We're introducing a second dragon, and like I haven't written a script for it yet, but I know exactly how I want that video to go. So I'm probably gonna be writing a script like in the coming days, because I need to obviously upload and render this video and edit it. But look forward to that next week, guys. And thank you so much, and just keep being awesome.